Hi everyone, it's your host Dave Fonseca and welcome to What's the Tea? You know, we really can't have a conversation about relationships, breakup, and divorce without what? I think you all know. A little tea, because tea makes the life so much better. Right, here we go. Cheers. Alright, so for those of you that are new and have not seen a video of mine before, I am spending some time talking about my life being engaged, married, divorced, and then what I've done with my life since then. And what I want to do for episode 2 is have a little bit more fun. This particular episode, I want to talk about proposals, because proposals are fun, they're adorable when you see it happening. We all just get excited. We just love watching other people love on each other. My proposal was really interesting and unique because at heart, I'm not a romantic, but when it comes time to do something really, really nice for someone, I go way over the top and I will make it an event you'll never, ever, ever, ever forget. And it just so happened that his company had a huge meeting over in London and they needed him to go and work it. So in the back of my head, I thought, holy crap, this is absolutely perfect. It was his favorite city. It was his first international big city he had ever been to. And he just had a love for London, very much in the same manner that I have that love for Paris. So I started concocting this plan of, wow, how awesome would it be to actually drop the question in his favorite city? So I called the jeweler up, I go in and I sit down with him and I said, look, I have a very particular boyfriend. So I sat down with him and had come up with this plan of designing this ring that really represented him. And so we got the thickness of the band worked down, and then it came to the talk about the stones. And I said, I'm like, sister over here wants, like I said, 10,000 carats, and that's not happening. So we decided to do alternating stones of iolites, which is this gorgeous, deep, deep purple stone, and ironically purple was and is his favorite color, with a really beautiful crystal clear diamond. From there, I'm going to take this back to 2015. 2015, Instagram was just starting to become this new platform that a lot of people were using, and I actually decided to hire my photographer for the proposal off of Instagram. Girlfriend turned me down 3 times. So finally, after the last turn down, I was like, you know what, girl, I'm not taking no for an answer. So I shot her a message back and I said, look, I am looking to hire you because I love the way that you can shoot a scene. And I want to hire you for your art, not for you taking pictures of myself and my soon-to-be fiance. And once I explained it that way, she was 100% on board and actually became an integral part of planning the proposal. So over the next couple weeks, Ronya and I become the best of friends. We're on email all the time discussing what time of day it's going to happen, where it's going to happen. I decided to use a very common, well-known event as a cover-up. And when you're planning things internationally, you guys really, really need to go in and do your research of, different, festivals and music events and anything that is happening. Because if you're trying to propose to someone, you need to know what's going on in the arena, because you don't want to show up and there be like 55 million people and you're trying to do something really quiet and intimate if that's what you're going for. I literally take a pair of socks and I shove it in a boot of mine, and there that ring sat in a box hidden in a shoe. And it completely worked for the whole week. I took a day trip to Paris, came back, everything was non-disturbed. It was absolutely perfect. So if you're holding on to the ring and you're overseas, literally use your shoe. Who's gonna dig in your old dirty smelly shoe, right? So shove it in there and it's all fine and dandy. So the day comes and I wake up in the morning. I am wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. I'm so excited. And I do that little gentle, like, time to get up. What the fuck are you doing waking me up this early? It's that cliche you hear every woman say, I was such an asshole to my boyfriend who planned this whole amazing surprise for me, but I woke up being a dick. And sure enough, here I was in this element of dealing with a dick. The whole time we're on the tube, I'm now texting with my wonderful new friend Ronya, who's like, ETA Dave, where are you? Are you in the Rose Garden yet? I'm like, girl, I'm still on the tube. Like, this fool is having a fucking meltdown. I'm like, I need a minute. We finally make it to Regent's Park and make our way over to where the Rose Garden is, and we're walking through, and I'm, you know, pretending to take all these pictures, which I've already taken a couple days before. I'm just, you know, killing time. And also watching my phone because I have a very specific time that I'm supposed to be at my point A to start the proposal process. So of course my ex is like, nah, 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 it's just flowers, it's just flowers. And I'm like, oh no, they're so beautiful, and smell it all. And so we start walking down through the park, and it's all beautiful, and you know, life is great. And we finally get to a boat launch. And I'm like, babe, I need a water. I'm really thirsty. Here's some euros. Do you mind running into that little store and grabbing a bottle of water for us? Why can't you go get it? And I'm like, bitch, you know what's in my pocket? So finally, I convinced him, after pretending to almost pass out and faint, that he finally went into the store to get a bottle of water. What I didn't take into account was the entire storefront were glass windows. Completely, whole thing made up of glass, and I'm like, I have this huge thing I'm about to do, and he can literally see what I'm doing. So I kind of I have like my left eye on the windows, and I'm moseying over to the boat launch because I need 2 tickets. And my ex hated activity, hated physical activity. I'm gonna do a quick little side story. His mother had a cabin in northern Michigan, and she had a rowboat, and the only time we would get in the damn rowboat was when I rode that motherfucker. So I was like, in my head, I got you, boo. So I make my way over to the boat launch captain. I'm like, I'm gonna make this really quick. I'm gonna throw you money. I need 2 tickets, and I want a private rowboat for myself and my boyfriend. And when he comes out, we're coming over. And the poor guy's like, oh my God, what's going on? And I'm like, no more questions, give me my tickets. I get my tickets, and I go sit back at the bench where my ex left me. And he comes out, he's got a bottle of water. We share some water, no big deal. And he's like, are you feeling better? I'm like, yeah, I think I got a little dehydrated. I was like, babe, I'm like, do you remember that one time we were in Paris and we were at Versailles, and I begged and begged and begged and begged and pleaded with you to go on a boat ride with me in the gardens? And he's like, yes, and I'm not going on the fucking boat ride. And I'm like, look, we are in this beautiful park. We just saw these amazing roses. Like, it's so beautiful out. You sit and I will row. I promise you won't have to do anything. Just get in the damn boat with me. Oh, we fought, girl. We fought, because I was finally like, you're getting your fucking ass in the goddamn boat, and I'm rowing that motherfucker, and you're gonna enjoy it. And I got so bossy. Here we are, and I'm like, I don't know how to row a fucking boat. And he starts coming at me like pigeons dropping from the sky, like boo, boo, all these comments. Why would you put me in a boat if you don't know how to row a fucking boat? It's, you know, it's no different than the rowboat at the cabin. And I'm like, everything in London is fucking backwards. Like, hello, like I'm rowing this way, but I'm actually going backwards, and I don't get it. So it took me like 10 minutes to get the coordination going. And the whole time he's like yipping in my ear, and I'm like, oh my God, would you just shut the fuck up? And I was like, oh shit, oh shit. I probably shouldn't have said that. But you pushed me to the point where I literally could not take it anymore. And there was no booze. I literally was stone cold sober, and you've been yapping at me since 9 in the morning. I was done. And our first set of photos, you can see us fighting. I really wanted to kind of change that energy around, because you can't propose to someone who you're really pissed at. And, you know, I'm like, do you know why I really wanted to bring you out on the rowboat? And I said, you know, there's this really old story that I read before coming to London this trip that really struck, you know, a chord with me, and I just thought it was so beautiful, and I'm going to share it with you. And I continue on, and I say, you know, I read this story of right before Prince Charles and Princess Diana had Prince William, that Prince Charles took her out onto the lake, Regent's Lake, where we were, in a rowboat. And when they got to a spot, he handed her a pen and had her close her eyes. And then they tossed their coins into the water and made a wish about their upcoming baby. I made all this shit up. This was not real. This is my creative imagination, skills, and hyperdrive. So we get to this point where I'm able to back the rowboat into us. And from the shore, we're in the center of these huge weeping willow trees. I said, you know what? Here's your pence. He goes, you brought a pence? I said, yeah, like, I think this is, if we're going to honor, you know, Princess Diana and, you know, all of that, then we should do it properly. So let's close our eyes. And then I'm going to count backwards from 3. And on 1, we toss our pennies in and we make a wish. And that's how I was able to turn a really ugly situation into a really funny one that was actually the cool part and the fun part of how I was staging the proposal. So I hand him his pence, we close our eyes, and I start counting backwards. 3, I peek my eye open to make sure his is closed. Okay, cool. 2, peek my eye open again just to make sure. And I end up reaching into my right pocket and pulling out the ring. And on 1, we both tossed our pence into the water. And then when he opened his eyes, I'm sitting in the rowboat like this with his beautiful, you know, purple and diamond ring. And I was like, surprise. And he about fell out of the damn boat. It was so funny. And it was actually really cute. It was a really special moment. And his first question was, what are you doing? And I said, I mean, it's kind of obvious, isn't it? And he's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And I'm like, well, we're in the middle of this beautiful setting and it's just the two of us. And I finally, you know, looked him dead in the eyes. You know, I went through that whole spiel of, you know, I love you, I want to be with you forever, and I know this is something that you really want, and, you know, here I am, I'm doing it for you. And so then we get to the final part where you say, will you marry me? And it's like crickets chirping, like nothing. So I open my mouth and I'm like, you know, we can't kind of continue on unless you either say yes or no. And if you say no, you're swimming to the shore because I'm not going to row you. Like, hello, like this morning was bullshit, so that's your punishment. So he finally says yes, and at that point, you know, I put the ring on his finger, and we have a really cute romantic kiss, and all the while Ronya is catching all of this, and I could hear the shutter clicking, and I don't think he could. And so he's holding my face like this, and he pulls back, and he is sitting in front of me, and he just turns his head. He's like, who's that chick taking our picture? And I was like, oh, that's our photographer, Ronya. And she could hear me, and she just was like, hi, oh my gosh, congratulations. She was the first person to see us as an engaged couple. And here he is like, who's this bitch? And I'm like, no, that's our girl. Like, I hired her. Like, this has been documented. And he's like, wait, we've been on film the whole time? I'm like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, so do you remember when you like shot me down for being a bad rower? Yeah, that's caught on camera. And so as we're rowing back, the question pops up, well, I also get a wedding band, right? And I was like, no, fool. This is custom made for you. This is it. This is your engagement ring. This is your wedding band. This is literally my heart and soul is in this piece of jewelry, and this is my gift to you. And so Ronya comes over, she meets us, she gives us a huge hug. This was my first time seeing her face to face, and you would have thought her and I had been friends for years and years. And I think when you spend time with one person who's really helping you orchestrate the full capacity of your proposal, you become friends just so instantaneously and say thank you for all of the help that she provided me. So we get back to the hotel, and we walk in, and everyone who worked at the hotel was like, oh my gosh, congratulations, and we're congratulating us. And he was like, wait, everyone here knew? And I said, this is a well-planned, thought-out day. I didn't miss a single detail. Grab my hand, and let's just enjoy the afternoon. And so we walk into the cocktail lounge, where we're set up over in the corner with a beautiful view of the river and a bottle of Veuve Clicquot, because, you know, I love me some Veuve. I do. And we cheers, and the first order of business was we had to call his mother, you know, because that's just what you do. You call the closest people to you. But from that point on, like, that was my proposal story. It was one of those days that, even though this was, you know, 3.5 years ago that this happened, all of the work, all of the time, all of the effort, all of the energy that went into one day, my goal was for that story to never, ever, ever be tired of being told. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Drop a comment down and I will happily respond to you all. Give me a thumbs up if you guys really like the idea of the proposal and how to keep something secret, and maybe, you know, if this will help release some stress for you. I'd love to hear from you. So don't be afraid, don't be shy, and thanks for joining What's the Tea? Peace.